Panthers fans, in the last 12 or so hours, we have gotten so much news. Dan Morgan is out there wheeling and dealing, making moves to improve this roster for 2026. Also, with some cap-clearing moves as well, a wave, a restructure. There is so much to discuss on this edition of Panthers Today by Chat Sports. My name is Tyler Smith, and I need you guys to go down below and hit that subscribe button because we are almost at our next milestone of 3,000 subs. Only need 50 more members of the Panthers fans out there to go down and hit that sub button, because guess what? When the Panthers make moves, we make videos. No matter how big or small the Panthers move is, you guys are going to know about it by watching this channel right here. So hit that subscribe button and turn those notifications on. All right, so the Carolina Panthers bring in a potentially new starting center, Luke Fortner, signing with the Carolina Panthers here on a 1-year up to $4.7 million deal. Fortner is a guy who, look, he was on the best available free agent centers yesterday, and look, Carolina lost out on Cade Mays, so they needed to go cheaper at that position. They go out there and get a guy in Fortner who, let's be honest, I think stacks up pretty similarly to Cade Mays here. The PFF grades were for sure better. He did allow 3 sacks from the center position in 2025, which is a bit concerning. Let's be honest here, guys. You don't see too many sacks let up from the interior right over the A-gap there. 3 penalties in last season as well. Only 11 pressures, though, in 678 snaps. So when he does get pressured, more often than not, it will turn into a sack. But outside of those 3 sacks, allowed 0 QB hits. He was an above-average interior offensive lineman last season for the New Orleans Saints. And look, he's been pretty consistent over the past few seasons. Consistently bad outside of last year. I mean, look, his days in Jacksonville were not too pretty. This is a guy who probably was looking at an NFL career being pretty short, but then goes out and balls out for the New Orleans Saints last season, and now he's looking at the new potential starting center of the Carolina Panthers, staying in the NFC South. So always good to be taking away a division rival's players here, this time doing it from the New Orleans Saints. And the Panthers, they're going cheaper at center here. Cade Mays got a deal, 3 years, $24 million from the Detroit Lions. It just seemed like, even though not a crazy deal, just too much to commit to the offensive line in total. You have Robert Hunt and Damian Lewis making big-time money at guard. Taylor Moton and Ike Ekwonu are making pretty relatively big-time money at those tackle spots. So you had to go cheap somewhere. They decided to do it with center, a position that they found Cade Mays in last year, a late-round draft pick that was kind of, just moving slowly up the depth chart, and they got the most out of him. They got him paid, and now they're going out there and getting Luke Fortner an opportunity. I think it's a good chance. He's only 20. He's 27 years old. Like, this is a good deal. He could be in Carolina for a decent while if he decides to play up to that contract level or maybe even above it. And with this move, you could probably say goodbye to a guy like Austin Corbett. It's the guy who was slated to be the Panthers starting center at the beginning of last season before getting hurt, and then Cade Mays took over. I think you could say goodbye to him at this point. He's an unrestricted free agent. I mean, there's a couple other guys out there that could still be brought back by Carolina, but I would consider Austin Corbett to be expendable now on the open market. Next move that Carolina has made, Stone Forsythe. Now, I'm not going to be as giddy about this one as I was about Luke Fortner. I've seen Stone Forsythe play a decent bit, and he's not very good. He played with the Raiders last year. He's been with the Seahawks before as well. 55 overall PFF grade last year. I don't even know. These grades might have been generous, to be quite frank with you guys. 11 sacks. Or 11 sacks allowed. That's absurd. 5 penalties. Like, he just wasn't good. Allowed 40 pressures. Why is this guy still in the NFL? I'm dead serious. Like, he's done this every single year of his career. He's been bad all the time, and he somehow still keeps getting contracts. $2 million from the Carolina Panthers here. That's just absurd, man. Like, I watched the guy play. Sometimes it looks like defenders are unblocked when they're lined up over him. And he constantly gets himself into trouble, kills drives with his penalties. Like, I'm not a fan of Stone Forsythe whatsoever. And if he was brought in here to be the Panthers' stopgap tackle in place of Ike Ekwonu, who's dealing with the patellar torn, like, that's scary, okay? I'm not exactly super faithful. I have a lot of faith in Stone Forsythe being a full-year starting tackle. We saw him play with the Las Vegas Raiders. We saw how awful the Las Vegas Raiders offensive line was as a whole last season. Now, to be fair, the Panthers have a lot more talented supporting cast around where Stone Forsythe would be starting here. But, man, I'd much rather bring back a guy like Yosh Nijman to take back that starting left tackle role with Ike Ekwonu on the shelf. If Stone Forsythe starts games for the Carolina Panthers, I think there's a better chance that they lose that game than win it. What's your confidence level on the Panthers' offensive line for 2026? Scale it for me down in the comment section. 1 being no confidence at all, 100 being the most confidence in the world. They're still going to be good, even though Ike Ekwonu is going to be hurt for most of the season. Comment down below your thoughts. Next up, Trevis Gipson back to the Carolina Panthers here, re-signing with Carolina on a 1-year deal. Still don't know the full details on that just yet, but a rotational edge, a guy who, look, I would have been fine moving off of. He only played in 9 games last year. He wasn't super effective. Like, they need to get better at that edge rusher spot, and they did so, bringing in Jaelan Phillips. I still think they need a little bit more depth there, maybe one more guy. Obviously, Nick Scorton is young, Princely Umamielen is young, and it's just list 4 stat. And now I know you bring a guy back in Trevis Gipson that just wasn't all that effective in 2025. Like 12 tackles total, 9 games played, 1 TFL. And I'm pretty sure the 1 TFL and the 1 QB hit that he has is the 1 sack that he has. Like he just wasn't really that good of a player. So it's an uneventful street re-signing. It's a guy who's probably pretty decently well-liked in the locker room, or else they wouldn't have brought him back. So I can't be too mad at it. It's not going to be super effective at the end of the day. Not going to move many needles. So to recap where the Panthers are at in free agency thus far, because they have been active, Jaelan Phillips, the biggest unrestricted free agency deal in NFL history. 4 years, $120 million, $80 million guaranteed. Trey Hendrickson ended up getting signed to the Baltimore Ravens earlier this morning, so Jaelan Phillips beats him out. Hendrickson got a 4-year, $112 million deal with only $60 million guaranteed. Wonder what Panthers fans think about that. I think Jaelan Phillips, as an athletic, bigger speed rusher, fits in better to this Ejiro Evero scheme than a guy like Trey Hendrickson does past the age of 30. He fits the Carolina timeline better, too. Caleb Evans and Robert Rochelle, some depth corner and special teams players, brought back here on some short-term deals. Kenny Pickett, going to be the Panthers' new QB2 for 2026. We know Dan Morgan wanted to go younger and more mobile in that spot. The deal of the offseason, the deal that everybody's jealous of the Carolina Panthers for making, Devin Lloyd. 3 years, $45 million, $15 million. I mean, he's getting, I forget the guy's name. Is it Sherwood on the Jets? Like some dude Sherwood. I have no idea who that is, and somehow he's getting the same money as Devin Lloyd. He's getting Nick Bolton money. He's not getting Fred Warner money. He's not getting Reset the linebacker money. He literally got less guaranteed money than Quay Walker. Masterclass. Absolute highway robbery by Dan Morgan there. LeBron Ray brought back as a D-tackle depth piece. Isaiah Simmons brought back as a safety linebacker hybrid special teamer. Nice short-term deal I like there. He was well-liked in the locker room. Made a big play for the Panthers in the postseason, blocking that punt against L.A. David Moore brought back for some depth wide receiver help. Stone Forsythe signed to a 1-year deal. I'm assuming it's $2 million for Stone Forsythe. Luke Fortner brought in on a 1-year deal. He's going to be the Panthers starting center. Trevis Gipson re-signed. And then James Mitchell brought back at that tight end spot for more depth in that room. Now, the way that they're making all these deals happen, well, A'Shawn Robinson was released. And for all you people in the comment section who were telling me, there's no way they cut A'Shawn Robinson. He's a great player. Well, when you could save $10 million on A'Shawn Robinson, yeah, he becomes a cap casualty. So they waive him, they release him, and you save $10 million against the salary cap to make room for some of those signings. They also restructured the contract of Derrick Brown. Now, this is another thing that we anticipated coming into this offseason where they'd have to move some money around. There weren't too many cut candidates for the Panthers here, so they had to go out there and restructure at least 1 or 2 deals. They converted $16.9 million of Derrick Brown's salary into a signing bonus, adding 2 void years, but also it clears $13.5 million of cap space this free agency cycle. So for Derrick Brown, in terms of cap hits over the next few years for Carolina, $10 million in 2026. Not too much there. 31 and 32 in 2027 and 2028. Those are big-time numbers. And then in 2029, just a dead cap void year of $6.6 million for Derrick Brown. Look, he's a really damn good player. I anticipate him being in Carolina for the foreseeable future, so a deal like this makes a lot of sense. In terms of the Panthers losing players in free agency, Cade Mays, their starting center from last season, signed with the Detroit Lions. 3 years, $24 million there. And I know a lot of Panthers fans were upset about Rico Dowdle leaving. We actually haven't talked about it much on the channel. He ends up signing with the Pittsburgh Steelers, and that's super interesting because Rico Dowdle said he didn't want to play in a committee. He didn't want to share carries in 2026. I think he would have ended up getting more carries in Carolina than he's going to end up getting in Pittsburgh up there. Jaylen Warren is a good back. I'd say Jaylen Warren is probably better than Chuba Hubbard. Who's to say Rico Dowdle is going to get more carries than he did in 2025? Jaylen Warren is a Relatively injury-prone player, though. He's on the shelf for a couple of weeks throughout the season, so maybe that's where Rico Dowdle gets his shine next year like he did for Carolina. What's your favorite move the Panthers have made so far this offseason? What signing? Is it Devin Lloyd? Is it Jaelan Phillips? Is it Kenny Pickett? Let me know your favorite move that Dan Morgan has made this offseason. That will do it for today's show. There's still more work to be done, though. There is still more work to be done. I say that'll do it for today's show. That's a lie. We're going to go through the top free agents available at some key positions of need here for the Carolina Panthers. Got a little bit ahead of myself there. There is some more work to be done for Dan Morgan. Who are the top guys on the board? Let's look at a couple positions of need. Now that they released A'Shawn Robinson, we're looking at interior to the defensive line. Sebastian Joseph Day is a name that I am particularly keen on here, coming to Carolina to fill up that A gap and run the nose tackle spot. Raheem Nunez-Roches, not really in my wheelhouse. Deshaun Hand, Jihad Ward, they're okay. I got my eyes on Sebastian Joseph Day here, a massive body there as a one tech. At the tight end spot, because I've heard there's been some rumors, David Njoku has some interest from the Carolina Panthers, among a bunch of other teams, but he's still weighing his options, seeing what his market looks like. I'm sure it's something in the realm of around $10 million a season for him. I like Njoku a lot. Would love if Carolina brought him in. Also in on Chikakonkwo and Jonnu Smith out of this group too. Safeties. They need a starting safety. Nick Scott, we're not doing that anymore. Jaquan Brisker, I'd be all in on. Jalen Hawkins, I'd be all in on. Kevin Byard, I'd be all in on. Geno Stone, I'd even be okay with. And Nick Cross, we'll see about that. I actually think he may have been signed at this point. I'm not 100% sure. Wide receiver. I think there's more help to be needed there. Tyreek Hill, not touching him. He's not going to be playing until November. Juwan Jennings, I would go after Juwan Jennings. The Panthers missed out on Romeo Doubs, which is okay. I didn't anticipate them to go and get him, but Juwan Jennings is a decent player, man. I like him a lot. He could run in the slot, and it would allow Jalen Coker to run more on the outside. Debo Samuel, I wouldn't mind as adding to Carolina. Maybe help Xavier Legette out a little bit. And Keenan Allen, I'm not so sure he's going to come to the East Coast at age 33. Stephon Diggs, I'm good on that. So, with that being said, that will do it for today's show. We will have a video if or when any of those names or anybody signs with the Carolina Panthers. So that's why you hit that subscribe button. Free Panthers videos all the time, man. If this is the number one spot for Panthers content on YouTube. Hope you guys can join the channel. We'll see you guys next time. And as always, keep pounding.